Michael Thomas and Steve Company with the likes of Marcus Colston and Danny Abramowitz. Pretty good stuff. He's a good young player. He was an outstanding selection by the Saints in the second round. Ken Trahan, sportsNOLAtv. The New Orleans Saints went to Arrowhead Stadium as an underdog to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and the underdog came up short. Kansas City wins it 27-21, despite the fact that the Saints dominated in yardage, 463 to 326, and Drew Brees was outstanding. But the key numbers are obvious. The turnovers, losing that by 2, significant, and of course the penalties, 10 for 75 yards, coming at terrible times and hurting the Saints throughout the course of the contest, which they simply could not overcome. And after the game, Sean Payton said it right. He got it right. He said, we're not good enough to overcome that. When you're clearly better than a team, you can overcome those type of things. But the Saints were the inferior team on paper, and there's no way they were going to be able to overcome those mistakes. Brian, very frustrating because the Saints moved the ball and moved the ball well on this Kansas City defense. Saints even rushed for 104 yards, aside from the fact that Drew Brees completed, nearly 80% of his passes.
Yeah, and we talk about it week in and week out about their margin for error is so slim, and Kenny, you mentioned it, is that, when you're not good enough, you need to play almost flawless football, and each of those turnovers resulted either in, lost points. One when Ingram fumbled, got the ball punched out of his possession, and then on the pick 6 on Drew Brees and Willie Snead. So, that says it right there, okay? It says it right there.
Ricky, you're a defensive player. You can make the argument that those were plays made by a good defense, punching the ball out, and, of course, the tip drill on a pass play. Now, Willie Snead, in his effort to try to get the ball back, pops the ball into the air, and that's what killed him on that play.
Yeah, it was a ball thrown, and it was kind of late ball, so that's why
might have been slightly late.
The defense got a chance to knock it up. Right. But the third turnover that you don't even count a turnover is what Nick did. What Nick did was definitely worse than any turnover, because that kept them going in the drive, and it got a chance to run the clock all the way out almost. So that was more of a turnover than the other 2.
In fact, let's take a look at the miscues that really led to the defeat of the New Orleans Saints at Kansas City. And there you go, the Brees interception, obviously, then the Ingram fumble, and as Ricky mentioned, the Fairley play, which is inexcusable. 10 penalties for the second straight game. This is a team that lacks discipline. This is not an exception. This is pretty much who this team is, Brian.
And Kenny, you know what? These kind of plays go unnoticed a lot. But there were 2, their last gasp attempt to try and send the game into overtime or even win it, and receivers don't get out of bounds. Now, I credit the Chiefs for being savvy enough to keep those receivers in bounds, but boy, you've got to hightail it for the out-of-bounds line. You have no timeouts. You've got 1 play left. Give yourself a shot, and they didn't get the ball out and kill the clock.
Yeah, Michael Thomas could have gotten out of bounds. He's trying to get a few more yards. The yards don't matter there.
No.
The clock is what matters.
Yep.
That's a rookie, though.
That is,
But you get Snead, he was trying to get out. You got to
He
give
was.
him credit. He left the middle of the field trying to get to the out of bounds.
Now, on the interception, I think you took exception with the quarterback, Drew Brees. You thought that maybe he should have done a better job of getting that Sorensen down, huh?
Well, right there, you got to bring that guy down. You're the last straw. You can't, to me, you got to bring him down. And I think the effort there was more you got to slow him up and do something. You just can't let him just run free to the end zone. You're the last straw. But, I heard Mike and Mike on TV, they said that quarterback should never make a tackle and he should lay down and move out the way. But if you're out on that field and you throw an interception, you got a chance to make that tackle. You got to bring that guy down.
Well, let's not forget what happened to Drew Brees in San Diego in 2005. His career was nearly over because he tried to make a play, a tackle him. He wrecked his shoulder. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying devil's advocate. I get it on both fronts, but this is your guy. This is your franchise. And if he gets hurt, your mediocre team suddenly becomes, frankly, a very bad football team. And that's basically where they are. Drew Brees played terrific in this game. The interception, Ricky's right, was slightly late, but that's not a ball that should have been picked off in retrospect. It got popped into the air a second time, and that's why it got picked off, but you can't allow the pick 6. That's what kills him. But I want to get back to, Ricky, what you said about Nick Fairley, because number one, as I wrote, he had a very difficult week. This young man's mother passed away, and give him enormous amount of credit for showing up and playing the game, first of all. But here's the second part. The Saints took a chance on this guy, always been about ability, but he has a history. This is who he has been dating back to his days at Auburn. Ask LSU fans. They will tell you he's taken cheap shots over and over and over again. This was not only cheap, it was stupid given the circumstances, and the Chiefs were stupid. Tyreek Hill goes out of bounds and stops the clock. The Saints don't have to wait for the clock to run up to the 2-minute warning. They got it stopped for them. One more down, they get the ball back with 2 minutes left, and all they need is a field goal to extend it to overtime. Is this about character, Ricky? You played the game hard, and maybe you got a personal foul somewhere in your career. I don't remember, frankly, but I know you didn't cheap shot people and kill your team. You want to act a certain way, that's fine, but it's a team sport. He killed his team, but this is not new based upon where he's been in his previous life in his career.
Well, you know, that's where leaders come in at on defense. I mean, if the Saints have some veteran leadership over there on defense, somebody who can pull him aside and talk to him and keep his head on a level case. And he kind of 9-year veteran, he should know better. He should be one of the leaders over there. Shouldn't nobody have to tell a 9-year veteran that. So to me, it was very stupid what he did, and there's no excuse for that.
No, we see it with certain guys, Ricky. I mean, we've seen it with Burfict most recently. We've seen it with Ndamukong Suh. Pac-Man Jones has had issues. I mean, look, you could talk about certain guys. With some guys, it seems to be a pattern that can't be broken. And at this point in time, you have to wonder about Fairley. I mean, that guy's 20 yards away from the play. It's a running back, and he ragdolls him for no reason. I mean, again, and then you know what happened afterwards. His teammates are like, dude, what are you thinking?
Well, I mean, you know, he's 300 and some pounds, so ain't too many people going to say that to him, right? But my thing is, he got to be held accountable for that. And I just wasn't sweeping under the rug. I would deal with him, and I would let him know that, you know, it's hard enough for us to win ball games already.
Yes.
Stupidness ain't going to help us win. So either you got to, you know, change or you got to go down the street.
Is there any doubt that that's why a guy like this was available, Brian?
No, I absolutely, Kenny. That's exactly why he was available. And he, you know, this guy has immense ability. We've seen it already. I got a question for you, Ricky. Is that a finable thing from a team standpoint, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, you know, because first of all, he only got a 1-year deal. So you know right there that we might have a problem with him. So we'll sign him for 1 year, he don't work out, we get rid of him. But the thing about it is, now you need him in the middle of a game like that, and he kills you for a game. I mean, how much you gonna take from him, you know? So I mean, it's like, you know, it ain't like he got 5, 10, 15 sacks that he just beating up the world. But he's a decent player, and he got a chance to go on and have a couple more years in the league. But who gonna want to fool with you when you keep doing stupid stuff?
Onyemata's playing more, and Sheldon Rankins is close
Right.
to coming back. So when Rankins comes back, Fairley's time might be diminished.
You know, that's the kind of thing, Kenny, you're absolutely right. That's the kind of thing that just would eat away at a head coach, because that came at just a horrible time. It's not good at all, but it came at a horrible time, a time when I remember waiting, thinking, well, they've got a chance here, and then all of a sudden the announcers say, there's a personal foul, and you go, what? How in the world can that happen? It just came at a horrible time.
Well, I was thinking, did he think the guy had the ball on the reverse? You know?
No,
I
he
mean,
didn't.
no.
He
So
knew
that's
that.
what I thought at first.
Where's just standing there?
Right. At first, I thought maybe he
Yeah.
thought the guy had the ball or something.
Yeah.
But after, you know, they showed the replay,
Right.
it was just a bonehead.
And
Auburn,
then I
LSU.
got to bring this up before we get to our
Yeah.
next point. Mark Ingram. I mean, look, he's not a punching bag. He's a serviceable, adequate NFL player. He's never going to get away from anybody. Can't outrun people. He can't make people miss. You know, he's a good pass protection guy, solid pass catcher. He caught a touchdown. And if you block a play for 5 yards, he might get 5 yards. But he's never going to get away from anybody. He was not worth the investment. He never was. And I know the ball got punched out, but that's the other play. It just kills you. I mean, you got at least 3 points there, if not 7.
Well, you got to realize, though, he coaches guy. You know what I mean? So a lot of coaches in the NFL, they have guys that they fall in love with. And, you know, regardless of what he do or whatever, he's coach's guy. So you just got to live with that.
2 quick observations. I thought Mark actually ran hard yesterday, okay? Removed the fumble.
But when
You
Tim
can't-
Hightower
you
got the ball,
I
he
agree.
hit the hole quicker and he got more yards.
That's my other point, is that all of a sudden Hightower's been away. Maybe he's got fresh legs, but you're right. He seemed to have that burst that Mark doesn't have. But I thought
And never
Mark,
has.
And never has. I thought
Right.
Mark actually ran hard.
All right. In the passing game, the Saints were very successful, spreading the wealth once again, Drew Brees was outstanding, as mentioned, 37 of 48. Look at the pass distribution over the period of time. Tight ends virtually disappeared yesterday after they were big in the previous game, but the wide receivers, look at this, wide receivers targeted 34 times in this game. And the tight ends, again, didn't see the ball. Running back, same as you've seen previously. So, again, Brian, I think that's simply born of what the opposing defense gives you. Wide receivers were more prominent in this game because that's what the Saints saw they could do and have success with.
You know, Peyton does a great job, and good offensive-minded coaches do this. They took Marcus Peters out of the game, Kenny. Now, he did recover the fumble, and that was huge, but he really was a non-factor.
Avoided their best player.
Yeah, they did a great job with that.
Yeah, they did. And then on the touchdown, Ricky, we were talking earlier to Ingram, Willie Snead throws a little bit of a block. It's legal because it's within a yard of the line of scrimmage, although you think maybe that's a rule that should be looked at.
Oh, yeah, if I'm a defensive player, automatic, when I'm covering a guy and another guy come pick me before the ball be thrown and stuff, you think right there that is automatic illegal play. But, like you say, the rules have changed and they can get away with that. But, I'm just going from a defensive mindset. But, I like the play call. The play call was a great call. They caught him off guard, and you can see Coach had been waiting on that situation for the whole game.
That's a scheme touchdown all the way. Right. And the Saints have now scored on their first possession of the game, 4 straight games, franchise record. That's game planning. Nobody doubts Sean Payton's offensive ability to scheme a game plan and execute it. He's very good. We would like to thank our good and great friends that make it possible for us to make this happen, Premier Automotive and Premier Honda. At 11801 I-10 Service Road in New Orleans. Go to PremierHonda.com. At Premier Honda, they're more than a typical car dealership. They believe in teamwork, integrity, and delivering impeccable quality to create the best experience in purchasing a car. No other dealership offers home delivery and a lifetime warranty. That's Premier Honda, 11801 I-10 Service Road, New Orleans East. Go to PremierHonda.com. We'll talk NFL when we return in a moment on Sports NOLA TV.